Persephone is a musician who's set to captivate the music world with her upcoming JPop single, Be With Me. And she's on the line with us here just now. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Now, this upcoming single, Be With Me, represents this leap that you're making into the J-pop genre. So, how did your kind of fascination with Japanese culture and the music itself begin?
Yeah, sure. So ever since I was about the age of 10, I've had such a large appreciation for Japanese culture,
Mm,
and their music. And, I've been watching anime ever since I was a small child. And, I have lots of respect for the Japanese culture in general.
yeah.
And ever since I've been doing lots of research on their culture, preparing to go to Japan and actually experience that for myself.
Wow.
Ever since I was little, I've been sort of wanting to study the language. And
Yeah.
now that I'm in college, I'm so happy to announce that my major is actually Japanese
Wow.
language and culture in the liberal arts school of Villanova University in Philadelphia. And I'm pretty well conversant right now. I've been studying the language for about 3 years,
Wow.
and I'm pretty conversant.
That's quite impressive. And I get with all this Japanese passion that you've had and studying that you've been doing, was it quite natural for you to just get into making J-pop, or did you experiment with some other genres beforehand?
Oh, I definitely experimented with some other genres beforehand. I started writing music when I was 12.
Mm.
Um, I created sort of a multi-genre album
Oh,
with a collection of genres, for example, pop, rock, industrial, and Broadway.
yeah.
Actually, it wasn't until I actually went to Japan into that I got inspired to write my first J-pop single and start this whole journey of J-pop.
Yeah. And how do you see the American appreciation, and not just America, but the UK and globally, and I guess everywhere that's not Japan, that
Yeah.
appreciation for J-pop and Japanese traditions kind of evolving through your music? Do you think your music will maybe have an influence on that?
I'm hoping it will. I see a lot of upcoming J-pop artists nowadays, especially in America,
Mm,
trying to make the J-pop industry bigger because I know
yeah.
that except for in Japan, J-pop doesn't exactly have a large market or
Yeah.
audience. And other people are kind of building that foundation, and I'm hoping to kind of hop on that foundation and grow and influence J-pop in the US, UK, and other parts of the world.
Absolutely. Now, what was the creative process in creating Be With Me?
Mhm. So really, how I start off every one of my songs is with a melody.
Mm,
Sometimes I even start off with the backing track first, which I know is a pretty unorthodox way of doing it.
yeah.
Uh, but
Hmm.
it doesn't really tell too much of a story. It touches the surface level of a love interest, but the
Mm.
music video that will be coming out soon will tell a pretty grand story.
Oh.
Kind of gives a like Hannah Montana vibe.
Oh. And what can you tell us about that grand story? Is it all top secret, or is there stuff you can share?
Besides what I shared, I'm going to leave the rest a secret because,
Ooh.
it's for you guys to watch and find out.
Yeah. And was it quite important for you to create an accompanying video, I guess, to reach as many people as possible that might not reach it if it was just a song?
Yes, correct. I know just with songs, it's really hard for new and upcoming artists to breach through
Yeah.
the music industry. Music videos seem like the way to go these days. especially for that. And especially with Be With Me, I think Be With Me has the potential to really capture the attention of both Japanese and everywhere else in the world,
Yeah.
partly because of the type of language that I'm using in the song. Because
Mm.
traditionally, some artists will choose to create one verse in Japanese and one verse in English,
Yeah.
or one verse in total, or the whole song in totally Japanese, or the whole
Yeah.
song in totally English in a Japanese style, you know? But my approach to it, which differs, is sort of what I call hybrid English Japanese,
Mm.
which sort of like in the same line or the same sentence will include Japanese and English.
Ah, so what would you call that? Jenglish or something?
I personally call it hybrid,
Ah,
J-pop, hybrid J-pop.
yeah. And the storyline of the song addresses themes of bullying and self acceptance. So, how do you hope that resonates with your audience, especially with those maybe facing similar challenges?
Yeah. Well, I grew up very severely bullied.
Mm,
And I'm hoping to perhaps, give hope to other people who are going through that situation, that that's not the end for
yeah.
them. It's just the beginning. And, that's sort of, I know it can be, I just want to tell people and give them a huge hug and say, I know it can be really hard because I've experienced it myself, but it's ultimately where you go in life that'll have you with the last laugh.
Absolutely. And for you yourself, were there any J-pop musicians that inspired you, or even people that aren't J-pop that have had some kind of influence on either this song or previous things?
Yeah, so I have three huge influences
Mm.
on my music career. One being Melanie Martinez.
Mm.
In the beginning, for her music career, like any indie artist, she didn't really breach through the music industry until it was years and years of, patience and tenacity and determination, and that really inspired me.
Yeah.
And next would be Yoasobi,
Mm.
in the J-pop industry. Her music style specifically inspires me so much because I love the cute and happy and, energetic feel to all of her music. But the lyrics hold such deep meaning.
Yeah.
And lastly, Lady Gaga
Yeah.
actually has a really big influence on my work. She is unapologetically unique.
Mm.
And she fought bullying in school, similar to my experience. And she sort of ended up having the last laugh. And that was a huge influence for me going through bullying.
Yeah. And do you find it quite important yourself to be quite unique? Because I suppose, as an American doing J-pop, there could be a lot of people out there that say like, "Why are you doing that?" Either they want you to be more traditional, or they just don't get it. Um, so for you, do you kind of see a similarity on your path with Lady Gaga there?
I guess I sort of do. I've always been sort of unique growing up.
Hmm.
In from, how I dress to how I talk to how I think, I guess. I've always sort of been, I guess the word would be, I guess different.
Yeah.
When it comes to, social, environments. And,
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble making friends growing up, and I always just focused on my music, and I'm hoping that now that music will help inspire others who went through the same thing as I do, or who are going through the same thing as I went through.
Absolutely. And you've certainly done quite well for yourself because you won the Jimmy Award in 2023. So, how did that impact your career and shape your artistic direction?
Yes. That actually, I was huge into musicals and Broadway for
Oh,
as long as I could remember. Some of my favorite roles were the witch from Into the Woods
oh yeah.
and Lady Flair and Pippin. And for the longest time, I thought I was going to go to NYU and become, a Broadway star or an aspiring Broadway star.
Yeah.
Um, I was really looking into that Broadway performance field. And it wasn't until I started writing my own music that I realized I don't really want to play a character. I want to be authentically, uniquely me and, release that out into the world.
Absolutely. And how do you think your music and your persona will evolve in the coming years? I take it you're going to still try and remain unique.
Yes. Well, I think that in J-pop idol culture, there is an element of innocence that is kept. And, a lot of the entertainment industry has been, filled with vulgarity and profanity, and that's just personally not for me.
Yeah.
And especially when I represent the J-pop audience, I feel like that sense of innocence really needs to be kept. And, both adults and children alike can really relate to that, especially since children these days are so forced to grow up with the amount of media that they have and the amount of internet that they have and the songs that they listen to sometimes, and that's not inherently a bad thing, but I want to promote keeping your innocence as long as possible and having adults and children both being able to relate to that and, having to appreciate that innocence.
Definitely. And do you have any plans as you kind of evolve into the J-pop scene to kind of engage with fans on a deeper level, like live performances or any kind of interactive experiences?
Oh, absolutely. I have all sorts of plans, especially for live performances that are coming up. I
Ooh.
plan to perform at festivals and conventions if I can.
Sounds exciting. And this song is, of course, called Be With Me. And are there any upcoming projects or collaborations coming up after this song?
Yes, I will have my next song coming out around next month to March,
Ooh.
which is called Enter Exit. It is actually a redo of one of my previous songs from my old sort of high school days.
Yeah.
It's a song that many people can relate to, which is about not being necessarily bullied, but having one of your closest friends, sort of leave you for another group or clique. Which, a lot of people go through, and it's really under talked about. It's not talked about as much as it should be, because that feeling is just so heartbreaking, when someone so close to you just breaks apart from you. And,
Yeah.
I feel like that feeling needs to be expressed.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting subject there. And in the meantime, this song is, of course, out now, and it's called Be With Me. So where are all the places that we're able to find that?
Yes, right now, Spotify. Soon it will be uploaded to YouTube, iTunes, Amazon Music, and a lot more platforms.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you here.
Of course, thank you so much.